Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So I kind of wanted to talk about the second biggest story today, and that's the idea that the Detroit Pistons decided they were going to get rid of their head coach Monty Williams after just 1 year. Now, last offseason, they signed Monty Williams to a 6-year, $78.5 million deal. And then it's pretty crazy because this guy's made $98.5 million in just the last 2 years after getting fired. Because now that the Pistons fired him, they owe him the rest of his contract, which is $65 million. I'm gonna be brutally honest. This video, it's fine. If Pistons fans don't like me for it, they don't like me for it. But I'm gonna give maybe a bit of a wild take here. I think Monty Williams was purposely trying to lose his job. I'm just gonna say, like, the shit that this guy was doing. As an outsider looking in, I was like, yo, the fucking Detroit Pistons look like a victim in this situation to Monty Williams. And I mean that 100%. Okay? I wear glasses. Okay? I wear glasses. But even I can see that Jaden Ivey is a better fucking basketball player than Isaiah Livers and Killian Hayes. And last season, or this past year, I could kind of tell. It seemed like the play. I'm just gonna say this. Okay, Monty Williams was actually planning to take a year off from basketball because his wife was getting cancer treatment. Okay. Seems like an admirable thing, I'm gonna take this year off and spend time with my wife, right? And here comes Troy Weaver and the Detroit Pistons. We're like, hey, Monty Williams, how about 6 years, $78.5 million? And Monty Williams all of a sudden was like, fuck my wife, man. We're gonna do this shit. Like, to me, it just seems like it makes almost a little too much sense for him to accept one of the biggest coaching contracts at the time in NBA history. I think it was the biggest in NBA history at the time. He's a 2-time Coach of the Year award winner, which I understand. I understand why Detroit went after him. I understand why they offered the money they did to him. But I can't help but think Monty Williams was like, you know what? This is the worst team in the league. Expectations are not exactly crazy. I'm going to go here and just bomb. I'm going to go here and bomb this motherfucker and get fired. That way they owe me $65 million after the first year, and I can just never coach another day in my life and go sit on a beach in Cabo for the rest of my life. I can't help but feel that way because the shit that this guy was doing, to me, just simply didn't make sense. As an outside, I'm like, yo, how is it that, like, Jaden Ivey is like the 13th man in your rotation? You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at that and I'm like, bro, Jaden Ivey, the guy that people were like dying to pick in the draft, you got him and he can't even get off the bench, bro. You got Isaiah Livers and Killian Hayes getting starter minutes and you can't get Jaden Ivey off the pine? I'm like, bro, like there's something going on here. And I knew something was going on when Troy Weaver decided he was just going to waive Killian Hayes. When I was like, yo, bro, I'm like, when Troy Weaver's got to step in and waive Killian Hayes so you will play Jaden Ivey, something is desperately fucking wrong. And then there was this weird debacle where it was like, Monty Williams couldn't decide of whether or not he wanted to play James Wiseman or over Jalen Duren or not. Like, that was the one thing that also baffled me. I was like, yo, Jalen Duren is clearly the better player. Why are we fucking around with James Wiseman and pretending like James Wiseman has a chance at being the Detroit Pistons starter over Jalen Duren? Jalen Duren is a fucking monster. If you ask me, dude's got Dwight Howard potential. And for whatever reason, okay, there was this weird thing where, like, maybe Wiseman would get a couple minutes every here and there, and they would, like, swap him, and then he would run these fucking lineups of, like, Killian Hayes, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Livers. I'm like, bro, no wonder they're losing games. They're putting motherfuckers out there that can't shoot. And like it got to a point where, like, I didn't make a video on this, but, like, at the end of last season, I was like, bro, this team went 14-68. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, they set a record for the longest losing streak in NBA history. They lost 28 games straight. They went 0-15 in the month of November. And I'm like, bro, I can remember just last offseason when I think they drafted Asar Thompson. I was like, yo, I remember being excited. I was like, yo, I'm like, I can't wait to see the fucking Jaden Ivey lobs to Jalen Duren. Like, the fast break's gonna be crazy. I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna see this Cade Cunningham lob to Jaden Ivey. Like, I was making it a point to watch Detroit Pistons basketball games because of that. I was like, yo, like, we're gonna get like Showtime Lakers, but like the young boys, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't get it. And I was like, bro, like, at a certain point, I'm like, this motherfucker was trying to lose. I mean, to be fair, Troy Weaver did have some bad picks, okay? Like, he was brought in 2020. I understand why they got rid of Troy Weaver as well, because they brought in a new head of basketball operations. I think his name is Trajan Langdon, if I said that correctly. But, like, bro, I was like, Troy Weaver, I want to thank Troy Weaver a lot. I want to thank Troy Weaver a whole hell of a lot, because you decided to draft Killian Hayes ahead of Tyrese Halliburton, and had you not done such a thing, as an Indiana Pacers fan, I would have maybe never gotten Tyrese Halliburton. So I want to thank you. I would like to thank you a whole hell of a lot for picking the mystery box over the proven product. Okay, thank you so much. But it's just the idea, man. Like, this team, it felt like Monty Williams was purposely trying to lose since the day he got there. Like, this is a team I expected to win at the very least 20 games. They didn't even win 15 games. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what's next for the Detroit Pistons, but, like, they had Dwayne Casey. They got rid of him. Then they bring in fucking Monty Williams. And, like, the thing is about Monty Williams, the reason I feel Monty Williams was purposely trying to lose is, like, those Phoenix Suns teams, like, they went to the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a bad coach, you don't get to the finals. You just don't. Okay? Like, they had, Mikal Bridges, okay? Devin Booker, you know what I'm saying? Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Like, these guys all became, at the very least, solid and or great players. You know? So you can't really tell me that Monty Williams isn't somewhat of a player development coach. He coached Anthony Davis. He coached Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? He coached Devin Booker. He coached Mikal Bridges. And you mean to tell me you couldn't, like, do something with Jaden Ivey? You couldn't do something with Jalen Duren? You couldn't do something with Cade Cunningham? You couldn't do something with Asar Thompson? You know what I'm saying? I get it. Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey may be a little much, but, like, you mean to tell me you couldn't do nothing with Cade Cunningham? Like, Cade Cunningham, I'm gonna be honest, man. Most of the fucking Detroit Pistons games felt like, let Cade Cunningham cook. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like their offensive game plan was. Instead of trying to get them to play together as a unit, it felt like their offensive strategy was let Cade Cunningham cook. And while I understand he's the best player on your team, at the same time, I think to myself, like, bro, Jaden Ivey is very obviously part of your future. Jaden Ivey is the future. Why the fuck are you playing Killian Hayes over him? And, I don't know what the deal is. There was rumors that, Jaden Ivey would have to earn his spot back in the lineup. And Troy Weaver, when he waived Killian Hayes, said, nah, fuck that. You're going to play him. And I just think to myself, man, that's why I feel like Monty Williams was purposely trying to lose. Like, I felt like he was purposely trying to get fired. Because this team should have performed a whole hell of a lot better than it did. And I feel like the new president of basketball operations, Trajan Langdon, brought that up to the owner. I feel like, the reason I say that is because when an owner pays you $65 million to go away, that is, you got to swallow your pride. You know what I'm saying? I've never made $1 million in my life, but I'm going to tell you right now, man, I could imagine if somebody came to me, right, and told me that a person I hired was purposely trying to lose, right, to get money out of me and wasn't going to fix anything, right? If I had to swallow $65 million to get that person out of my building, I would be fucking furious. And I'm positive Trajan Langdon had tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that should have happened like a month ago. When teams stopped, like when your team doesn't make the NBA playoffs, that's usually when, you start seeing coaches getting fired. Frank Vogel got fired like almost immediately after the Lakers season was over, right? They waited like a month, 2 months to do this firing. That to me, that means Trajan Langdon went into the owner's office and was like, listen, this is your head coach, okay? This is Jaden Ivey. This is a guy that should be playing. Your coach is purposely not playing him, okay? And the only way you're going to fix this problem is if you fire him. Yes, you're going to have to eat $65 million, but please, for the love of God, to make my job easier, get this man the fuck out of the building. And I feel like that's what happened. I feel like getting rid of Troy Weaver and getting rid of Monty Williams was the first step in the right direction for the Detroit Pistons, because I'm going to be honest, man. I was like, yo, I stopped watching Pistons games because I was like, yo, Jaden Ivey can't get off the pine? You trying to tell me Jaden Ivey ain't going to get no burn? You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude was, I believe, what, a top 5 pick? And he can't get off. Killian Hayes? Killian Hayes. Like, Killian Hayes? We getting Killian Hayes over Jaden Ivey? Isaiah Livers? You telling me you going to put Isaiah Livers out there over Jaden Ivey? And you're trying to tell me you're trying to win? You're letting these dudes get starter minutes over Jaden Ivey, who's getting 13th man type minutes off the bench? I was like, nah, man. Like at a certain point, I was like, bro, this motherfucker is trying to lose. And I think they finally became aware of it. Like, for me personally, I was like, yo, I felt like there was probably some personal animosity there. But when I was like, yo, I'm like, you're trying, like, and the crazy part is, right, like, even if Jaden Ivey, let's just metaphorically, right, let's just say Jaden Ivey was running his mouth, right? What if Jaden Ivey was like, yeah, I'm better than these motherfuckers, I should be playing, right? Because there was a thing where Monty Williams did say, like, basically that Jaden Ivey would have to basically earn his minutes back or something like that. I was like, bro, like, but even if he is talking shit, right, like, Jaden Ivey is clearly better than Killian Hayes. Jaden Ivey is clearly better than Isaiah Livers. I mean, this team had 31 fucking guys on the roster this year. That includes guys who they've traded out and all that stuff. But all year, they had 31 fucking guys on their roster. If you can't tell me you're trying to find somebody to play over Jaden Ivey, then I don't know what to tell you, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like 31 dudes? You mean to tell me your roster came, 31 dudes came and went before you decided, like, okay, I gotta play Jaden Ivey now, like, there's nothing else I can do, like, it felt like Troy Weaver was trying to back Monty Williams' play. Maybe Troy Weaver didn't know what the true intention was of Monty Williams, but, like, at the same time, it's like Troy Weaver hired the motherfucker, right? So Troy Weaver's got to back his play, right? Like, you have to try to support your head coach. But at a certain point, once I saw Killian Hayes got waived, they didn't even try to trade this motherfucker for a second-round pick. They just waived his ass, and we're like, yeah, now you're going to have to play Jaden Ivey. And then you still had 31 dudes come in and off your roster. I'm like, bro, like, this motherfucker Monty Williams is trying to lose. And I was like, and it's crazy because, like, I was thinking it, but then somebody at work brought it up, right? Like, I work with people in a school, and, like, one of the guidance counselors came to me and was like, yo, he's like, the Detroit Pistons, I think, are trying to lose. And I was like, well, I mean, like, at this point, though, like, obviously, after the All-Star break, it's pretty much, set in stone which teams are going to be lottery teams and which teams are, like, maybe fringe playoff teams if they make some moves. But this was well before that, man. This was, like, before the All-Star break. This dude was like, yo, he's like, I don't know why. He's like, but I just get the feeling like the Detroit Pistons are purposely trying to lose. He's like, I don't know. Their rotations are horrible. He's like, their lineups are horrible. He's like, Jaden Ivey's getting no burn. I'm like, I was like, yo, I'm thinking the same shit, because I'm like, yo, I was just like, in what world is Killian Hayes better than Jaden Ivey? So I don't know, man. This is just my opinion on it, but tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.